I got 7 rejections from 7 different medical schools before I finally got my place. I decided in the middle of a global pandemic, I want to be a doctor. Hello everyone, so my name's Amelia and I'm a first year medical student. So I'm going to do a video about the application process of medical school in the UK and my personal experience with the application process of medical school, because mine definitely was not plain sailing, we can say that for sure. I got 7 rejections from 7 different medical schools before I finally got my place, so I just thought it'd be worth sharing my experience for anybody who is looking to apply to medical school or is worried about applying or is currently having their own personal struggles with the application process at the same time. So if that is something that is for you, then please watch this video and I hope you enjoy. I thought I would give a quick run through of my personal experience with applying to medical school. So I didn't actually always want to be a doctor. I wanted to be a vet for the majority of my life. So I had done all my work experience. I used to work in a veterinary practice once a week. I had my personal statement written to apply to veterinary school. I had everything in place, and then I started to doubt whether I actually did want to be a vet. So this was throughout COVID. So I was doubting it, but I didn't tell anybody about this because I was really worried about what my family would say. And it was so silly at the time because I do not care as long as I'm happy, but I was really worried. So I kept it to myself and I was just so scared, and I was like, what do I do? Because I've done everything I need to do to apply to veterinary school. I've got nothing for medical school and we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I decided in the middle of a global pandemic that I didn't want to be a vet anymore. I want to be a doctor, which is fine until you think about the fact that I need to get work experience, I need to write a new personal statement. We're not in college or sixth form, so you don't have the help of your teachers to do this, and it was just, let's say, stressful. So once I decided that now I want to be a doctor, I was like, how am I going to get work experience? So I decided to apply to work in a care home because obviously key workers were still needed during this time. And I got the job. When I was working in the care home, and I still work at this care home now on the side, I absolutely loved it. I loved being in the care environment. I loved working with nurses and paramedics, and I loved it. And this really solidified for me that this is what I want to do. So now I know, yes, I want to be a doctor. I'm in the middle of getting my experience. I then realised that I need to sit an exam, which is the UCAT. I'm sure you might know about it, you might not. So I had to sit the exam. So I sat the UCAT exam. I got a low-ish score, like towards the low end of the threshold score in the UCAT. Definitely I struggled with that exam. I then wrote my personal statement, and obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I didn't really have the support of my teachers, but emailing back and through, but it was a bit more difficult. So I got my application sorted and I applied to Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester and Cardiff. So we're in and out of lockdowns, and I got, I think around Christmas or after Christmas, I got my rejections from Manchester and Birmingham. I think I'd changed what I wanted to do so last minute. I hadn't really done as much research as I should have done, and I didn't really realise how difficult it was to get into medical school. It sounds a bit naive and a bit stupid and a bit big-headed. I knew it was difficult, people say it's difficult, until you're actually in that situation, you don't realise how difficult it is. I got my first rejections and I was a bit taken back by this because my friends who applied to different courses were getting full acceptance offers from all of the unis, or 5, from all of the unis they've applied to, and I've just got 2 rejections and I've not heard back of any other unis that I've applied to. So waited a couple more months, and then I got an interview for Cardiff and for Liverpool. So I was like, right, I've got this in the back. I was like, I'm good at talking, I'll be fine, I've got this. So I didn't do too much preparation for my interviews. And when I say this, the night before one of my interviews, my friend said to me, so why do you want to go to this uni? And I was like, to do the course. And they were like, no, you need to have a reason why you want to go to this uni, like a specific reason for this uni and this course. And I was like, oh. So that's how underprepared I was for my interviews. That is a big mistake I made. So I sat my interviews and I was patiently waiting, and I really didn't know how they'd gone at this point. My confidence had been knocked from my rejections that I'd got initially. Then I was in work and I got my rejection 3 for Cardiff. So I was a bit sad about this, but Liverpool was the one that I really wanted to go to anyway. So at this point I've got 3 out of 4 rejections. However, I'm waiting for Liverpool, which is the one I really want to go to, so all is not lost. So a few more weeks go past and I was in work and I got a notification and I'd been rejected from Liverpool. And I was so sad. However, I'd been accepted for biomedical science in Liverpool. I didn't know what I wanted to do at this point. Did I want to do the degree, biomedical degree, and then go through postgrad? I did a bit of research. I realised that it's quite difficult to get in through postgrad, and I'm thinking, right, if I couldn't even get through undergrad, how am I even planning on getting through postgrad? So after thinking about what I want to do, I thought, you know what, I do not want to do another degree. I don't want to waste all this money. I don't want to waste all this time, but I do want to do medicine. So I'm going to take a gap year and I'm going to try again. Can I tell you, this gap year is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I literally had the time of my life. I worked, I travelled, and when they say everything happens for a reason, looking back, that is the reason. Like, I had so much fun, and it was kind of COVID at this point anyway, so I wouldn't have wanted to do my first year in COVID circumstances. So I'm really, really, really glad that happened now. At the time, I did not feel like that. I felt like my world was ending, but now I'm very happy. So if you are in this position, it's so difficult, and I hate when people say to me everything happens for a reason when you're going through a really crappy time. But now I'm on the other side of it and I'm looking back, I'm so happy that happened, and I would not have had it any other way, and everything's gonna work out. It will be fine. Okay, moving on. So I was like, I'm on my gap year and I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna apply again and I'm gonna keep applying until I get in. So I did my UCAT again. I got a better score, but not an amazing score. Some people are really good at it. Me, on the other hand, I did work hard, but I don't know, maybe I needed to work a bit harder. I got my UCAT score, did my personal statement. I was in touch with school. It's a bit more difficult doing your personal statement when you're not in school because you don't have school connections, but I did keep in touch with my head of year, so I was emailing it back into to her, my English teacher from GCSE. I had outside connections of family friends who were really good. I'm not great with words, but they are, so I was sending it, what do you think? So I got some advice on my personal statement, and I don't think my personal statement was that great, but it did the trick. I had my work experience because I'd been working in Karen for 2 years, so I submitted my application. Second year round, I submitted my application to Liverpool again because I really wanted to go to Liverpool, Hull York Medical School, Keele, and Anglia Ruskin. So I'd be in work and you got an email from Liverpool. I'd open the email, you have been rejected. I got an email from Anglia Ruskin. I opened the email, you have been rejected. I got an email from Keele. I opened the email, you have been rejected. Tell me about knocking a girl's confidence. I literally was like, it's it. I'm going to be taking another gap year. I was currently planning my gap year. I was like, this is what I'm going to do next year. But I was just like, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep going till I get in. So I was planning my gap year, and then I was in work one day and I had an email from Hull York Medical School. So I went to the staff room, I opened the email, I was like, right, another rejection, fully prepared. And then it said, you have been accepted to Hull York Medical School. And I was in such shock. I was like, what? I don't think I'd processed. I was like crying, but not crying in happiness. I was like, I can't even explain the feeling. I was just so shocked. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, I'm going on another gap year now. My plans have changed. I'm going to medical school. After I processed it and digested it, I was obviously over the moon. But initially, I was a bit taken back by this. So I got my acceptance. After 2 years of trying 7 rejections from medical school, I got my acceptance. So if you want to take anything from this video, if you want to do medicine, keep going, keep applying. There's so many different routes you can take. If you want to do this, just keep trying, because you will get there in the end. I know somebody who applied 4 years and got rejected all 4 years and then got in on the 5th year. So just keep trying, just keep going. Everything happens for a reason. You'll get there in the end. People apply when they're 40 and start medical school when they're 40. Like, there's no time limit on what you can do. You just need to keep pushing, and I can't emphasize that enough. I now think, where did I go wrong in my first application to my second application? What did I do different, and how did I get in on my second application but not on my first?
So just an extra point which I forgot to add, and I don't know how I forgot this because it's one of the most important things, but it's just so important to play to your strengths. So for example, my strength was not the UCAT, it was one of my weaknesses. So I applied to universities and medical schools that didn't weight the UCAT so highly, and that's what I did differently in the second year compared to the first year. For example, the first year I applied to universities that weighted the UCAT quite highly, and in the second year I applied to universities that looked at your personal statement and your work experience and those aspects more. So you need to play to your strengths and research the universities you're applying to, and I think that's how I got in the second year.
So I think of the application process as a 5-stage process. Your A-level and GCSE grades. A-level are most important, however GCSE are important, but A-level the biggie ones. So you need to be choosing subjects that you enjoy, that you know you're going to get, and you need to get your grades and you need to work hard. If you have to resit, it's not the end of the world, however you need to make your life easier. So you need the A-levels, so choose subjects you enjoy. I did biology, chemistry, physics and maths. Crazy choices, but I really enjoyed science and maths. I really enjoyed maths, so that was fine for me. But if you don't enjoy those subjects, don't choose them, because you're not going to do as well and you're going to have to put more work in, and it's just making your life difficult. I think you do need to have chemistry though. Then you have the UCAT. UCAT, start early. It's testing your skills, so you need to be starting early and practicing these skills for a long period of time so that you are building on them, not cramming information. You can't cram the UCAT. It's building on your skills, improving the skills, and that can only be done by practice makes perfect. You can't cram it in 3 days. Well, some people probably can. Me, not one of those people. So I started a lot earlier for my UCAT the second year round. Next part of the application is your personal statement. Again, I'm not great with words. My maths is very strong, my English not so strong. So I did struggle a bit with the personal statement. It was okay, but some people's personal statements are astounding and mine was average. And obviously you're competing against the smartest people in the country, so you need to be up there. So just get as many eyes over your personal statement as possible and take all their feedback on board. Obviously it's difficult because people have conflicting opinions on what makes a good personal statement. I went differently in my second year applying by getting so many people to read my personal statement, getting so many opinions, because you just need a fresh set of eyes that doesn't read that well, or you should have that in. So just get as many people to read your personal statement as humanely possible. The more the better. Then you've got your work experience. For me, my work experience was the strongest because I'd been working in a care home for 2 years at that point, so I'd seen a lot. But just get as much work experience as you can, but also a large range. Even if it's like reading a book, volunteering with children, you know, it can literally be anything. I say wide range is really important. Quality over quantity is important. And then you have your interview. So a big one for me is, in your interview, prepare for it. Don't just think like you can wing it, because this interview is not like any interview you've probably sat before. They're going to be testing your ability to think on the spot. So they're going to be asking really bizarre questions. I think one of my friends got a question, something about climate change. I think it was like, what effects does climate change have on healthcare or something like that. It's not so much about the questions. You need to be practicing your skills to be able to think on the spot, because I know my year 1 interviews, I didn't get my place, and my year 2 interview, I scored quite high in that interview. So the difference between the 2 years is for the second one, I really prepared. I was prepared, just practicing these skills to be able to think on the spot. Obviously, you need to have some ideas of what you're going to talk about, but you don't want to be scripting your answers. Like, why do you want to be a doctor? I don't think I even got asked that. Prepare for that to be asked. You know, the questions that you think you need to know. Why do you want to be a doctor? Or because this, that. So you need to have an idea in your head, but you don't want to be scripting off an answer because it's just so unnatural, and they are testing your ability to think on the spot and come up with unique answers and relevant answers. So I'd say that's really important. I got 7 rejections from 7 different medical schools before I finally got my place. So if you are struggling at the minute, do not worry, just keep trying. If it's something you want to do, it will happen. And I wish you all the best of luck with your medical journey, and I really hope it all works out for you. If you have enjoyed this video, I would really love it if you would subscribe to my channel and like and comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best of luck. Bye!